there is a file download that you can download, and that'll have links and information on the upcoming sale. This is January the 1st. You guys know every year we do a give back. We were so insanely blessed this year. It's crazy how much business we did, and that's because of you guys. So once a year we give a program back at a ridiculously low launch price. This year it's the Surplus Mentorship Triple Play. I'm going to go into that real quick, and then I'll open this up for questions. I am going to prioritize questions about the new program or the upcoming sale as much as possible. And quickly, as part of that, I want everybody to know your programs, if you already purchased from us, include support, and that's email-based support. Please do not substitute coming to these webinars for support, because support will get back to you quickly. They have 3 business days, but Jeff tends to get back. That's my business partner, tends to get back in 1. He knows the front line way better than I do. So don't put off asking questions for the webinars, okay? But the new program is the Surplus Mentorship Triple Play. What that is it's a way for you guys to start out making 30, 40%, up to 30, 40%, I should say, depending on which method you use. It's going to teach you how to use assignments, be a finder, or use a structured buyout yourself. It's also going to give you free lists, 10 free lists to start. Also 10 free skip traces for you. And also an hour of mentorship. When you get something ready, we'll get you over the goal line. We'll make sure you get there. Another thing I want to bring up is the sale starts at 10 a.m. Eastern Time, January the 1st. The first 40 people are guaranteed to get, if you buy it, obviously, that program, the Surplus Mentorship Triple Play. Also, you'll have a shot at the Surplus Bundle, the New Year's Surplus Bundle, and that's $697, and that has the new program, Surplus Mentorship Triple Play, National Surplus Premier 16, and even the Zombie Business Reviver. $1,800 worth of programs for $697. Okay, that's a good deal. On top of that, the first 40 people, and we may go a little more on the new book launch and how many we sell, we're not sure. But on top of that, the first 40 people also get coupons or vouchers built into their systems, where if they decide to buy a system later or try another type of program as well as the one that they get, you can get up to $100 off a single system or $200 off a bundle. That's a big deal, guys. It's a really big deal. Of course, the Diamond's still available. That has the program that's blown us away better than anything else we've ever done, which is the Panning for Hidden Surplus Funds, which is working approximately 20 states where you can't get mortgage overage lists because the attorneys handle it. We teach you how to actually come up with a strong estimate. There's a couple tricks involved in that. Strong estimate as to what surplus is on mortgage. And because you guys can team up with us, and because we use attorneys, we're actually able to have our attorneys contact the foreclosure attorney, the trustee that handled the attorney for the bank, and double check bonds and get the money out. And we had some crazy payouts happening this year. Erin, if you're here tonight, she just got a check for over 14 grand. We've had multiple checks in the last couple of weeks for well over 6. This has been a fantastic year, guys. So I'm going to open up chat again. Phil says, hear you, Sean. William Walker said, yes, clear. Okay. Let me open chat. Oh, it is enabled. All right. Any and all questions? You guys just waited for me. Thank you. Any and all questions you've got, fire away, guys. I'm here to answer whatever question you have. There are no rain checks on the sale. It starts at 10 a.m. Eastern Time Monday, ends at 11:59 sharp, guys. We did this because when we would do midnight before, people would put it off and figure I'm good until 5 minutes after. No, we were shutting it down. So 11:59 p.m. on the 1st. Doyle, is there a time limit or a certain date when we must use the triple play program? No, Doyle, once you buy it, so what you guys get, that's a good question, right? So once you guys get it, and what you get is you get a PDF, an ebook that is a step-by-step, very clear and concise on everything you need to get rolling. It's even broken down into 3 different ways. The finder method, which is basically the registered finder method. And we started doing this because it's what people have been asking us for. It also talks about the assignment method, which some states let you use, and of course our structured buyout. There is no deadline on when you should start using it, Doyle. Just grab it. I will say anybody that doesn't have it, a lot of people that have been consistently buying from us, a lot of people that have been successful with our partnership and doing it on their own, this is something you need to add to your quiver. Just like panning was. A lot of people, I mean, the crying I got last year, because after we do a launch like this, we typically pull it off and only put it in the diamond bundle. And that's what we did with panning. And I mean, the amount of crying I got last year from the people that just missed it, they figured they could get it the next day, or they would. Guys, we don't create scarcity. We're not going to say, hey, it's for one day, and they're oopsie, we extended it. We just don't do that. Oh, in addition with that, you get a course of skip tracing, free skip tracing for your first 10, free 10 free lists, the mentorship, and a couple other things that are interesting about that program. We actually went into airship. If you guys want to go after airs, a lot of people, we don't tend to do that on the majority of our programs, but some people want to go after that. And frankly, demographics these days, that's going to become more and more common. So I thought that was important for you guys to have a really good feel for that. We also touched on how to hire and use VAs if that's something you want to do to get your business up and rolling. Cheryl says, hi guys. Rochelle, on the triple play, do we get the same or a different list? So Rochelle, oh yeah, we stake you guys with the initial list from the beginning. And yeah, you guys are welcome to jump on it however you want. And by the way, you don't have access to the active files list that we're working. People that have our partnership programs do. The reason they do is they can look on our active files list to make sure that they're not researching something and turning it in. A lot of you guys like to partner. If you do want to partner, I would definitely get the surplus bundle, $697 as national surplus and Premier 16. Clifford, can you explain a bit how the contingent finder method works? So Clifford, mostly what you're doing with that is you're going to get a hold of the state. A lot of times you can go through the county. Just ask them, look, I want to be involved in surplus funds retrieval. What do I need to do to start with this? And they'll tell you if there's a registration issue, registration process or procedure, and tell you how you need to do that. And another thing is we've given links to statutes for states throughout the book, not in every one of them, but the ones that we felt were going to be set for a while anyway. Basically, all you're doing is you get in touch with the person, and there's different scripts for that than there is for the structured buyout. Different mailings, different scripts. Everything's different. The contracts are different. The main thing with the contingent or finder method, if particularly in those states where you're registered, it does actually give you guys some credibility. And the reason it does is you're a licensed finder in that state, and you can say that. The other thing is, what's interesting is it tends to be a little easier to get listed when you request them. It's not hard to find lists out there, guys. But as a registered finder, it's going to be a little easier for you to do that. So that's kind of nice. You make a deal with the people where you're getting a contingency fee when it's retrieved. And the great thing about being a registered finder is you're actually sending that paperwork with the paperwork for the claim, and it breaks down what you're getting paid. And there's caps on that in most of these states. You're going to be capped out. So if you don't want to do that, the assignment method in those states where they don't require the registration and the caps also will work very, very well. And that also does not have any out-of-pocket to you. The structured buyout is the one that we use when we partner with people. And the reason we use the structured buyout is simply we're giving 10% of the gross amount being held by the court to the claimant within 10 business days after they sign. What that does, they're broke. They just lost their home. They're living out of their car in mom and dad's basement. They need the money. Of course, we give them more, not just 10%, for goodness sake. But we give the rest of it when we successfully pull it out. And that makes a big deal. It also helps us get out of the finder caps. Because we're participating in retrieval. Excuse me. We always use attorneys with the structured buyout. We just think that works better. And we think that gives us credibility in that method. Cheryl, hi Sean, do you know if the panning for surplus program will be available within a smaller bundle other than Diamond in an upcoming monthly sale anytime soon? Thanks for all you do. Thanks, Cheryl. No, it won't. Guys, look, that is accounting for over 65% now of our deals. I've never seen anything like this in my life. And we've been doing this for over 20 years. We've launched a number of different methods, hit different niches. This is the most profitable thing we've ever done, and the highest, consistently the highest converting program that we have. I've never seen anything like this. So I'm happy with folks that buy the diamond and invest in that. I'm happy with those guys, particularly working it and getting rolling with it. And I doubt we're ever going to sell that by itself. I'll never say never, but I doubt we'll ever sell it by itself or in a lower bundle. Kirk, Sean, do I need to carry a license in my home state and state that I will be retrieving the claims from? All right, so Kirk, there's a couple of different things. So that's a really good question. If you're going to be going after surplus funds, everyone else out there online tells you get an LLC. And it's obvious, limited liability corporation, right? It's kind of a level of protection. The thing is, you can get that same level of protection from a subchapter S or chapter S corporation. That's what I have. I think highly of that. It depends on your tax situation. The beauty of using a structured buyout is all of them, when I get a contract, they sign a power of attorney to my attorney, who's a central attorney in the same state as me. That attorney, as part of that buyout, has, power of attorney, has the right to hire other attorneys in other states to claim the funds and to push it through. Because of that, that frontline attorney is simply transferring the check to my central attorney. I don't have to be registered in all these other states to do business in those states because I'm really not. I'm hiring an attorney to do something out there, so there's no issue. There is another way, there's a couple of ways around it, but if you're going to be an LLC or a corporation and you're going to work multiple states and you're going to be a finder, some of those states are going to also require that you register. So for instance, let's say you have a corporation. And by the way, you can do this as an individual. You don't have to be a corporation or an LLC. But let's say you registered as a corporation in North Carolina, where I'm at, and you were doing business as a finder in Tennessee, and they said, hey, you have to be registered with the state as a foreign corporation, foreign meaning outside of the state. If that was the case, you would have to register in that state as well. There's another way around that. And this is one of the beauties with the Chapter S corporation. The beauty with the Chapter S corporation is you can write your own bylaws, and there's really no truly governing overview on how you write that. For instance, when I flip property in Tennessee, in order to have a foreign corporation in Tennessee, if you flip property and you're going to buy it in a company name, you have to have it registered in the same state as a foreign corporation, or else they won't be able to deliver clear title. In other words, you can't sell the property after you buy it, okay? So what I did in Tennessee, because it's so, I think it's $1,500 a year just to be a foreign corporation. It's ridiculous how much money it is. With my subchapter S or chapter S corp, what I did is I wrote in the bylaws that I'm allowed to buy and sell property in my name on behalf of the company, and the company will indemnify me, okay? Take all liability for that and all tax liability. So I can buy and sell in my personal name, and you don't have to be registered as an individual. This is for flipping. And I don't have to pay that huge fee in that one state. And that got me around it. And that's a beautiful play. But if you're going to be registered in that state, check with them. A lot of times, they're going to also, if you have an LLC or corporation, require you to record or register that state with the Secretary of State as a foreign corporation. I see somebody use Q&A. I'm going to take a quick look. Guys, please do not use the Q&A section anymore. Kirk says, I'm here. Question from Al, what paperwork is required to be done with the panning program? So panning is available only in the Diamond. That's our most expensive bundle. It's $2,497. Worth every penny, especially it's also got the 50-50, surplus 50-50 in it. But what paperwork is required? Panning, you can either do it on your own or you can work with us. And what we need from you on that instance is we're going to we teach how to estimate surplus for the mortgage overage in certain states. We have certain documents we need you to pull right out of the Registered Deeds Department. You have to fill out a worksheet with information. Basically, you're showing your work, and we take it from there. Anytime you use a structured buyout, that can be used on any of the programs, guys. So Kirk, let me know if I didn't answer your question. You asked do I need to carry a license in my home state and the state that I'm retrieving the claims from. I think I answered that, but sometimes I misunderstand the question. Guys, keep bringing the questions. We've got a limited time here. It's nice to have a community like this because someone always asks a question you didn't think of. And one of the things that I've gotten from people before when I've spoken with them before, after they've been to a webinar and they hadn't bought a book yet or whatever, as they said, I was afraid to ask a question. I am not that unapproachable. Ask any question you got. The sole purpose of me being here tonight is to answer questions, okay? Now, I know I'd said, hey, let's try to keep this on the new program, but any questions you got, fire them away, guys. We've only got so much time, and I want to make sure that I cover everybody's question. Also, just so you know, because this will also be a replay on YouTube, so just so you know, on YouTube, when you see the replay, there will not be the file download. If you guys are looking at that file download, take it, download it, and read it. That will help you a lot. Don't forget to do that, okay? But those of you guys that are watching this on a replay later, obviously the file download will not be on there. You can't download it from that. Those downloads are on the main page, the website that we're at, surplusfundsriches.net. You can, if you download, guys, the files will give you a direct link to the sale page. But if you also click there's a banner at the top right now up until January 1st. They'll take you straight through to the new sales page. And there's downloads halfway down. For those of you watching this that aren't in the live webinar, there's a download of pricing. There's a download of the new program we have, the Mentorship Triple Play. And there's a download of all of our programs with an overview right in the middle of the page. Don't forget to download those, guys. By the way, Jeff put this on tonight on Facebook. We are almost full in reservations. So if you haven't reserved your spot, you might want to do that. Oh, good. Kurt says, yes, sir, you did. I will have my attorney who has agreed at the 10% fee that you give to your lawyers. So, Kurt, just so you know, 10% is a great fee for attorneys. And what that does, because a lot of people go, I want to pay them $1,500 and it's a $5,000 retrieval. And I get that. And some of the attorneys that we work with, our frontline attorneys, only charges $500 to $1,500. Our central attorney, we always pay their central 3% and then pay up to 10% for the other attorneys, the frontliners. That way, that central attorney is always getting something, even if they're not directly involved. And that's a way to defray the cost of their paralegal, hiring the attorneys into the other states. Obviously, it makes it way easier on us guys because the paralegal is calling an attorney going, hi, I'm calling from attorney, blah, blah, blah. And they're listening to her, right? She has credibility because she's calling from another attorney's office. Juan says, as a newbie to surplus funds with the triple play promo would be a good start. Absolutely would, Juan. If you want to do this on your own, but not alone, because we're going to give you the membership or the mentorship to get you across that goal line, I would recommend you also get that you get the surplus funds, the New Year's surplus funds bundle or surplus bundle. It's $697. It has the national surplus funds, which allows you to go after surplus funds, where all you have to do, if you want to partner with us, all you have to do is go get your own list, easy peasy. Take that list, research the debt against the property, because if there was previous or prior debt against that property before the foreclosure, that has a priority claim to the funds. You need to know, is there something in the way here? You research that, fill out a worksheet, turn it in, you're done, and we do the rest and we give you 8% of the gross. What also is in that bundle is a Premier 16. What that does is, besides researching debt, your job is to find them and call them, which means you're going to have to get some kind of skip tracing set up, right? Find them and call them, make sure you got the right person and they're willing to speak with us. We still negotiate, but we give you 16% of the gross. Meaning if there's 50 grand in the court with the national, we're going to give you 4 grand when and if we get that under contract and get the money out. With the Premier 16, we're going to give you 16% of the gross. Okay. So that's a big deal. But the mentorship triple play has some extras in it that I don't think anybody should put off getting, especially if you purchased from us before. Like I said, it touches on stuff that you're not used to being touched on. Estates, it goes into going after heirs and estate and probate files, and how to hire VAs if you want to use that as a growth method for growth. That's important to you guys. I know, look, I always tell people, I have a crew in-house that show up for work every day, full-time, pay them really, really well. They all get bonuses this year. They all got pay raises this year. They're fantastic. Never had this cohesive of a group. I pay them really well, and I pay for their entire health care. They're not leaving anytime soon. Everybody gets along great. And that's the best way to grow a crew. But look, some of you guys are starting with nothing, okay? So you need VAs and that type of a method. You need something that's low cost and easy to expand and scale with, and that's why we put that in there. Because I know somebody gave me a rough time today. Sean, you say never to use VAs, or you're not going to use VAs, but now you're saying you're putting this in the book. Well, that's a method to grow, and a lot of people have asked us for that, so that's why we put it in there. I am working, Dan. If I am working a full-time job, what kind of time commitment is really needed to be successful? So, Dan, I'm going to put it another way than that. It's a great question. We have a lot of people that maybe put an hour in a day. I've actually had single moms in the past, single dads too, that that literally used an hour for lunch to research a file or two, because they were doing other things at the same time, because it only takes 15 minutes to research a file once you've done 3 or 4 of them. Like the light bulb goes off, and you can do it. So if you want to, it's about consistency, keeping your pipeline full. Once you've gotten to that 20 level, you really have some momentum. You turned to 20 that were accepted. You've had some momentum and you can keep it going. That's very important. I had a lot of people that say, hey, I turned in a file. What happened? I'm like, how many did you turn in? They said 1. People die. People get called from somebody else sometimes before us. There's competition. Now look, if they haven't agreed, they're going to go with us, because we're giving them 10% of the gross amount held up front as good faith money. Nobody else is doing that. People die. People move and cannot be found. People move out of the country, and there are no good skip tracing systems out of the country. Okay. You have to go through family members in that instance and try to track them down. So things happen. So one file isn't going to cut it. Okay. 3 files probably isn't going to cut it. 20 is a magic number to where you start seeing things rolling. So Dan, if you want to put in a couple hours a week, that's fine. It's up to you. Here's the secret. All these guys out there that are telling you about surplus funds, start this business and make $1 million a year. And look, 90% of the people that are successful in surplus funds do it as a side hustle. There is no shame in that. There's no problem with that. And man, I've paid over 5 people this year over $40,000 part-time. Just work it. Is panning similar to national surplus in research that needs to be done if we partner with you? So that's, again, Al, that's available only in the Diamond, but you've got to create your own list because you're working states for mortgage overages in states where you cannot get a mortgage overage list. So we teach you how to create your own list. So you're going to have to use a number of different things, including opening bids, and you have to know if they're real or not, because sometimes they're not real. We teach you how to do that. And then the final sales price, and you've got to factor some other things in. For instance, how much was the mortgage versus how much they're saying the opening bid is. Well, if the original mortgage was $300,000 3 years ago, they're saying the opening bid is $280 and it's a foreclosure. That doesn't sound right. There's a lot of tricks. Those are just a few of them. But there is an extra step involved in it, but it pays extremely well. Can you tell more about the Zoom training option? So, Gene, that is built into and applied to the surplus funds surplus mentorship triple play. All right. That's a mouthful, I know. That's built into that. And what it's designed to do, okay, is get you over the goal line. The point where everybody freaks out is when they get to the end, when they've got a contract ready to go or whatever, they go, oh my God, what do I do now? That's what people do. That's human nature. That's what people do. We'll give you 2 1/2 hour or hour long mentorships, Zoom mentorships online. Jeff and I both at the same time. 2 guys have been doing this over 20 years, worked over 20,000 files. Okay. There's a little bit of value to that, I think. Will you have a leaderboard case file video coming soon? Yeah. So Cheryl, sorry, I actually took the photos of that. I'm putting that up here soon. I keep putting it off because the girls are rocking right now. I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that it's, right after Christmas and people need to pay bills and they heard us talking about giving us money up front. So, I keep putting it off because I know they're going to get 2 or 3 more under contract. But yes, I will have that up hopefully before the new year. And of course, I do get in touch with people when I put them on a contract. Sometimes there's a slight delay, but I usually get in touch with you right after I put them on a contract. And then I get in touch with you again when I know I'm about a week or 2 out getting the check. Because I want to double check where to send your check or whatever you'd like to do with it. By the way, I will wire funds to you. I typically deduct that from what I'm going to pay if I'm going to do it because it's going to cost me $30 to do that instead of just sending a check out. Rick, I believe I purchased all of your programs. I don't recall the panning program. Is this a new program? Rick, we sold it January 1st of this year for 1 day. It's only available in the Diamond now, but we sold it for 1 day. And believe me, we hammered everybody on that. We were emailing and texting like crazy. The turnout for that was insane. And by the way, guys, I'm not trying to scare anybody or do the used car salesman tactic, but just to be clear, 3 times during this year, we shut down sales early. I don't think that's going to happen on New Year's Day, but I would tell you, you need to show up early, please. It's going to start at 10 a.m. Eastern. It'll run through 11:59 p.m. Eastern. Oh, Taylor, I'm sorry. Juan says, thank you, Taylor. Please explain what a VA is. Thanks. Well, a lot of people that start in this type of business, and then they find themselves starting to expand and that type of thing, is they want to hire somebody to help them. A VA is a virtual assistant. There's a couple of ways to do that. One of the easiest ways, at least that it's a little better vetted, even though I don't like everything with this thing, is the Fiverr, Fiverr. Fiverr, Fiverr with 2 R's. That's a great way to go. Obviously, when you're doing that, one of the things I put in the book was how to stay clear with their copyright. You're not going to want to give them the whole book if you're going to hire a VA. You're going to give them, if you're going to have a call, you're going to have to give them a script. Okay, and you may have to tinker with it a little bit, but we talk about that. It depends on how you're going to handle it, right? Are you going to call? Are you going to pay them just to call and tell you when there's a number that's right? You're going to pay them to call and try to put a deal together. What are you doing? How are you paying them? Are you paying them per call or per contact? And we cover that in the book. But there's a lot of them out there. You got to be careful, and I would want to actually talk to them because you don't want them to have and accent, and I'm not discriminating or whatever else, right? I'm not being a racist here, but you don't want them to have an accent that's going to sound like a telemarketer. This is in all caps, man. You got to stop doing that, Kirk. It's not good. What is next in the future for programs? Rochelle, I would say get this one first of all, just to add what you got. We always have something in the lab, right, that we're working on because we're always finding new ways to make money, and not always surplus funds. Sometimes it's flipping property. We flip a heck of a lot of properties too. Kirk says, I have 5 or 6 other deals over 100 grand, and I've managed to track down through my skip tracing efforts on who I believe to be the heirs, and I'm ready to contact them to make one of them per each deal the executor for the estates. That's the way to go. Get somebody appointed, or you can become the executor. They are all adult children, and I would like your partnership on them so that I don't screw things up. Will that be possible? Because I heard you mention that you really don't like messing around with probate. Only in the Florida program do we use that. And of course, Kirk, you got to have our program, right? But only in Florida. The other ones we're not going to take in a state issue. It's too time consuming and expensive. We're going to have to open an estate or probate file. My experience, Florida, we can do it because our attorney kind of throws it in for free, and Florida has really good, easy to navigate rules for estate probate files. Other states do not. So no, if you bought our national or our Premier 16 or even our panning, if it turned out to be an estate or probate file issue with heirs, we would not work with you on that. We just don't right now. We may change our mind in the future, right? Because demographics are saying we're probably going to have to. We're certainly an aging population, right? What is the success rate? What is the amount of competition out there? So Dan, it depends. I actually like the competition, guys. I really need to pound this home. You know, Jeff and I, when we first started this, we thought there's no way this is going to last more than 10 years because it's going to be saturated. The cat's going to get out of the bag, right? Didn't happen. In fact, it's grown. There's foreclosures every day. Okay. There's way too much opportunity for that to be an issue. But here's the other thing that really helped us. It's gotten a little more competitive. There's certain states that are more competitive than others. And on my YouTube channel, Surplus Funds Riches, I actually did a breakdown of the states for you. Look on that, Surplus Funds Riches, all one word on YouTube. And there's a state guide on there. There's a state guide and then an updated state guide. And I actually put a new one with this new mentorship where I went into more detail. Jeff has just shut down chat, so I'm going to go through the rest of the questions. But competition is good. If for no other reason than if they've gotten a call from 3 different companies that they've blown off, or maybe you call them back now or whatever, now they're beginning to think maybe there's something to this. Competition has been helpful to us as far as I'm concerned. Hasha, instead of wiring payments, have you ever thought about Zelle? I have. Hasha, I got no problem with that. I've got a Zelle. I just haven't been using it. I can also use PayPal. I can send an e-check through PayPal. I have no problem doing that, where I can wire the payments. I've got a treasury management system with my bank account, so I'm shortly going to be able to ACH debit. I just have to figure it out. I haven't watched the tutorials yet, but thank you for that. One more person in Q&A. Please don't do that, guys, but let's see what we got here. What happens after the included skip tracing is exhausted? How do we buy more and how? Hey, so great question, Abel. So what we did is 2 things. We also touched base on the fact that you can use cheap systems. You know, I know you're going to, guys, when you first started, you don't have any money. But the thing is, even with the subscription-based systems, you can get them for $1.50 to $3 per search, depending on what type of search you use. So yes, after the initial 10, you're going to have to do your own. It's not forever. And of course, we teach you how to get your own lists so that after you've gone through the list, you can also find your own. Guys, let me tell you something. Getting a list is easy. I've done so many videos on it. When people say, I'm having trouble getting a list, I'm like, well, then you didn't read the book. Because you can Google excess proceeds list, surplus funds list, and you can either keep it wide like that or break it down by state. And believe me, you're going to be scrolling for days. Overbids list, right? You're going to be scrolling for days. So that's not an issue. As far as the skip tracing, it's really not expensive when you break it down. And one of the things we did, Abel, is we made a deal with a company called Microbill. They're really good at not only finding the claimant, but even they're better than anybody else at giving possible relatives and associates, which is a good way to track these people down, okay? So we made a deal. The guy's name is Randy Mosteller, Mosteller. All you got to remember is go to Microbilt, Microbilt, right? Built without the U, microbilt.com. Go to that site, call that phone number, talk to Randy Mosteller. Tell him Sean Bougie of the Greater Good Company sent you. He will give you a crazy good deal. He usually waives the inspection, like where they have to check out your local area, waives the fee for all that. Just a phenomenal deal. We've been working with them for over 15 years. Nothing but good things to say about them. And it's just a great way to go. It's one of the skip tracing companies that we recommend. Guys, I'm going to wrap this up. I hope to see a lot of you guys January the 1st. Again, I can't stress it enough, though. Please show up early. It starts at 10 a.m. Eastern Time on Monday the 1st, and it goes to 11:59 p.m. Eastern Time. And the first 40 people get the extra vouchers for possible purchases in the future. And we know we'll sell at least 40 of the surplus mentorship triple play and the surplus, the special, surplus special bundle. Guys, I appreciate you coming out tonight. I'm going to wrap it up. Let's see if we got anything else down here that I missed real quick. Okay. That's it. I'm going to wrap it up. And hey, everybody be safe out there, right? Please, during New Year's Eve, take care of yourself. Don't do anything stupid, right? And have a great weekend. Thanks, guys.